Okay.
First time for your class.
Okay. Man, I made a big error. Did you see what I did?
What is it?
I said, we're going to Deuteronomy. We're going to finish up, but I forgot about Numbers. Hey, Tyler. Yeah, I forgot Numbers. So we're going to have to go back to Numbers before we go on to Deuteronomy. Because Numbers is just as important as Deuteronomy. Dear Lord. Here we go. Numbers chapter 1. We'll skip over the Marshall game. Those of you all that went to the Marshall game, dear Lord. You go? It was bad. It was really bad. And, yeah, Louisville killed Florida State, so next week will be... I just figured a lot of people will be tailgating next week. What'll happen? Numbers chapter 1, verse 1. Are you ready? A year after Israel's departure from Egypt. This is 1 year after the departure. Now, I want you to think about it. A year's a long time, but it is not a long time in the scheme of the whole process of this. The Lord spoke to Moses in the tabernacle in the wilderness of Sinai. On the first day of the second month of that year, he said, from the whole community of Israel, record the names of all the warriors by their clans and families and list all the men. Now we're going to do a census. 20 years old or older who are able to go to war. We're going to do a what's that called when you not drafted, but when you're register, right? You have to register at 18 here, I think. So now it's 20 years old and older who are able to go to war. You and Aaron must register all the troops. And you will be assisted by one family leader from each tribe. These are the tribes and the names of the leaders who will assist you. Your tribe leader is Reuben, Eliezer, son of Shedeur, Simeon, Shelumiel, son of Jerishdael, Judah, Nishon, son of Amminadab, Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, Zebulun, Eliab, son of Helon, Ephraim, son of Joseph, Elishama, son of Ammihud, Manasseh, son of Joseph, Gamaliel, son of Pedozar, Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideoni, Dan, Ahiezer, son of, here we go, Amishadai, Asher, Pagel, son of Okran, Gad, Elisaph, son of Duel, Naphtali, Ihari, son of Enan. Aren't you just thank God for just Bob? Do you know what I mean? Tony. I just thank God for that. These are the chosen leaders of community, the leaders of their ancestral tribes, the heads of the clans of Israel. So Moses and Aaron called together all these chosen leaders, and they assembled the whole community of Israel on that very day. All the people were registered according to their ancestry by their clans and families. The men of Israel who were 20 years old and older were listed one by one. Just as the Lord had commanded Moses, so Moses recorded their names in the wilderness of Sinai. This is the number of man, 20 years old or older, who were able to go to war, as their names were listed in the records of numbers, or the records of their clans and their families, tribe, number. Reuben, Jacob, Hebrews, Israel's, the name Jacob. Now watch this. Reuben, Jacob's Hebrew name is Israel. The name Jacob and Israel are often interchanged throughout the Old Testament, referring sometimes to the individual patriarch and sometimes to the nation. Jacob's name had 45,650. Judah had 74,600. Issachar had 54,400. Zebulun 57,400. Ephraim, son of Joseph, 40,500. Manasseh, son of Joseph, 32,200. Benjamin, 35,400. Dan, 62,700. Asher, 41,500. Naphtali, 53,400. These were the men registered by Moses and Aaron and the 12 leaders of Israel, all listed according to the ancestral descent. They were registered by families, all the men of Israel who were 20 years old and older and able to go to war. The total number was, look at this, 603,550. We would call that 603,550 troops, okay? But this total did not include the Levites. For the Lord had said to Moses, do not include the tribe of Levi in the registration. Do not count them with the rest of Israelites. Put the Levites in charge of the tabernacle of the covenant along with all of its furnishings and equipment. They must carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings as you travel. and they must take care of it and camp around it. Whenever it is time for the tabernacle to move, the Levites will take it down, and when it's time to stop, they will set it up again. But any unauthorized person who goes too near the tabernacle must be put to death. Each tribe of Israel will camp in the designated area with its own family banner. This is wild. But the Levites will camp around the tabernacle of the covenant to protect the community of Israel from the Lord's anger. The Levites are responsible to stand guard around the tabernacle. So the Israelites did everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Watch this. Chapter 2? Okay. Then the Lord gave these instructions to Moses and Aaron. When the Israelites set up camp, each tribe will be assigned its own area. Here's what the Lord has done. He's brought Israel to this place. He brought them out of Egypt. He's got them in the wilderness. He now tells them, here's your laws, here's your rules, Leviticus. Here's how this is going to work. I want you to build me a sanctuary, a tabernacle. I want you, the places where I'm going to dwell and meet with you, I want you all to gather together. You all are in tribes. You're all in families. I want you all to get together because I'm preparing you as we go forward. Because we're getting ready to go into a place that I brought you out of Egypt to go into. But if you don't get these things first, you'll never be able to get it over there. I'm afraid you'll take the world's way, or the land of Egypt's way, or the Canaan's way when you get over there. So here, you got to know how to live with me. You got to know how to live with each other. If you can learn those rules, then you'll be happy over there. Problem is, you can't keep these rules. So I'm going to make a way for you to keep these rules. I'm going to make sacrifices. You're going to have, in this tabernacle, there's going to be lamb for this, a goat for this, a lamb for this, 2 goats for this. You guys remember all Leviticus. It was all about rules. When you know we're going to break them, how to get back in the fold. Okay? This is how we live. This is how we live. Then he gets together now and he says, okay, guys, I've already built the tabernacle. Now this is where I'm going to dwell. This is the rules. Moses is coming. We've got the people set in place. So now we're ready to go. But before I do, I want you to know what you have. Take an inventory amongst yourself. There's 12 tribes. How many you got? 603,000 that are 20 and older that I can prepare to go to war. But it's just not about going to war. It's not about going out here just into the world. It is about also taking care of the tabernacle, which we would consider what we would call the church. So the church is a place where I have to be and dwell. At that place, that tabernacle, that place where I'm going to dwell. I will meet you there. So I don't need the Levites getting distracted on going out there, and I don't need you all getting distracted on the things in here. I need you to focus on that part, them to focus on this part. That make sense? And that's how he set the stage, because he's ready to go. And he says, now listen, when I say go, it's time to go. I don't need the Levites pointing at the Issachar's clan. I need Issachar to know exactly what they're supposed to do, and I need Levites to know exactly what they're supposed to do. So when the Israelites set up camp, a tribe will be assigned to its own area. The tribal divisions will camp beneath their family banners on all 4 sides of the tabernacle. So you could walk through the camp, look over here and say, Dan, because the banner's there. You could walk over here and say Issachar, the Issachar banner. And each one of them had a banner. Yes. The banner had a name, and a banner had a symbol or an emblem representing the name, okay? It's kind of what we get our mascots today. It stems back from this day. So when you see the thundering herd, which it was painful to say that this morning, when the thundering herd, then you know where they got that buffalo. It's Marshall represents this. So you got the name of the place and the mascot, okay? So that's kind of how it works. When the Israelites set up camp, the division of Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun are to camp toward the sunrise. That's the east, on the east side of the tabernacle, beneath their family banners. These are the names of the tribes of their leaders and the numbers of their registered troops. Tribe leader, number Judah. Nashon, son of Amminadab. Amminadab. 74,600 Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, 54,400. Zebulun, Eliab, son of Elon, 57,400. We're back up to 603,000 here in a minute. So the total on the troops on the Judah side of the camp is 100. What's this? So the total of all the troops on Judah means praise. So on the east side, okay, on the morning side. So when you see the word in the morning, it could be interchanged for east. When you see the morning or east, You could also interchange it for Judah, bless you, east or Judah or praise. Are you following me? Judah's son of he's allergic to numbers, isn't he? The Judah's side of the camp is 186,400. These three tribes are to lead the way whenever the Israelites travel to a new campsite. Let me stop right there for a second. What you're going to see, I want you to get a picture of this. Because as you're going in here, you ever heard of about the East Gate, the West Gate, South Gate, North Gate in Jerusalem? And you're going to talk about, this is a picture of this. So when you start seeing, you start hearing that eastern gate. He's coming through that eastern gate. He's going to split the eastern sky. Okay? What's he talking about? He's representing here. So these are pictures of that which is and that which is to come. Okay? So the total of all the troops on Judah's side of the camp is 186,000. These three tribes, 3, 3, 3, 3, are all the way whenever the Israelites travel to a new campsite. They all know their place. The divisions of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad are to camp on the south side of the tabernacle beneath their family banners. Okay? These are the names of the tribes, their leaders, and the numbers of the registered troops. Tribe leader, number Reuben. Eleazar, son of Shedur, 46,500. You guys aren't going to be questioned on this later, so don't have to worry about it. But Simeon, Shelumiel, son of Zerushadai, 59,300. Gad, Elisaph, son of Duel, as in many Hebrew manuscripts, Samaritan, Pentateuch, and Latin. Vulgate, see also 114. Moses, most Hebrew manuscripts read the son of Reuel. Anyway, 45,650. So the total of all the troops on the Reuben side of the camp is 151,450. So you got 163 on one side, 154,450 on this side. These three tribes will be second in line. Judah will go first, praise, okay? Then comes Reuben's side, 154 or 151 will be the second in line. So when it's time to get in line and move, they know their place. Judah goes first. Reuben goes second. Then the tabernacle carried by the Levites was set out from the middle of the camp. They're in the middle. So you got praise, you got Judah, Reuben, the camp, the tabernacle. All the tribes are to travel the same order as they camp, each in the position, the appropriate family banner. The divisions of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin are to camp on the west side of the tabernacle, beneath their family banners. These are the names of the tribes, their leaders, and the numbers of the register. Tribe leader, number Ephraim, Elisha, son of Amidud, 40,500. Manasseh, Gamaliel, son of Peduzur, 32,200. Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideoni, 35,400. So the total of the troops on the Ephraim side of the camp is 108,100. These three tribes will be third in line whenever the Israelites travel. Now watch this. Go back there just a second if you don't mind. So 163 on the east, right? East. 153 was on the west. Was that right? South. That's a good point, yeah. South. Ephraim's side is the west. So 108 over here. And in the middle is the tabernacle, right? The camp. What's this? You'll see this in a minute. These three tribes will be third line. The divisions of Dan, Asher, and Naphtali are the camp of the north side of the tabernacle. Beneath their family banners, these are the same, okay? Names of the tribes, their leaders, the numbers of the registered troops. Tribe leader number Dan, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai, 62,700. Asher, Pagiel, son of Ochran, 41,500. Naphtali, Ahiri, son of Enan, 53,400. So the total number of troops on Dan's side of the camp, 157,600. These three tribes will be last, marching under their banners wherever the Israelites travel. So let's stop right there for a minute. Let's just picture this. North side first, Judah, right? Then you had Judah was coming from the east. Then you had, was it south? Then you had the west, and you had the north. So it went, right? Clockwise, right? So you had north, south, east, and west. In the middle was what? The tabernacle. If I draw that out for you, What do I get? A cross. So from an aerial perspective, when they would go down in the valley and they would set up shop, their enemies would be up on the mountain looking down, and what do they see? A cross. When they travel, they all travel single file in a line. But when they set up, it was the cross. Make sense? So they made a statement. So when the Philistines would see them from a distance, and they would be up on a hill, and they would be traveling down through their valley, they would look down and go, there they are. We can take them. But when they set up shop, it was the cross, and they had every aspect of the cross covered. Okay? Now, I just described something to you, okay? Because when a body is a north side, an east side, west side, south side. So you're here, and where's the tabernacle? Right here. So that's a picture of a type and shadow, a picture of the cross, which is a picture of Jesus, which is a picture of us. Okay? Isn't that good? Make sense? So in summary, I just told you the summary. The troops of Israel listed by their families totaled 603,550 people. But as the Lord had commanded, the Levites were not included in the registration. So the people of Israel did everything as the Lord had commanded Moses. Each clan and family set up in the camp, marched under their banners, exactly as the Lord had instructed them. This is the family line of Aaron and Moses, as it was recorded when the Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. The names of Aaron's sons were Nadab, he was the oldest, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These sons of Aaron were anointed and ordained to minister as priests. But Nadab and Abihu died in the Lord's presence, if you'll remember that, in the wilderness of Sinai for burning up the wrong kind of fire. Different than that he had commanded. Since they had no sons, this left only Eleazar and Ithamar to serve as priests with their father Aaron. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Call forward the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest to serve as his assistants. They will serve Aaron and the whole community, performing their sacred duties in and around the tabernacle." Go back about 2 scriptures there, Chad, about maybe 4 or whatever. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Call forward the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest to serve as his assistants." Now here's what happens. You got to get this. All right, so Aaron was the priest, right? But Aaron only had 2 boys left. So God says, look, that's not enough. So I've designated Levi as the priest, the family that's going to be the priest. So you hear this said sometimes, the Aaronic priesthood and the Levitical priesthood. The Levitical priesthood, Levi, is what kept the order. It kept the structure. It kept the system. It kept the way. It kept the rules. It was the guard. It was, right? Okay? It was, and they were the police officers, basically. They guarded that thing, okay? They had the right, not only were they police officers, they were the judge. They were not only the judge, they were also the one to get you to free once they did the sacrifice, okay? So keep that in mind as we move forward. Call forth the tribe of Levi and present to Aaron. Now we have the Aaronic priesthood going into the Levitical priesthood. They will serve Aaron and the whole community, performing their sacred duties in and around the tabernacle. They will also maintain all the furnishings of the sacred tent, serving in the tabernacle on behalf of all the Israelites. Assign the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They have been given from among all the people of Israel to serve as their assistants. Appoint Aaron and his sons to carry out the duties of the priesthood, but any unauthorized person who goes to near the sanctuary must be put to death. In other words, if you weren't from that tribe of Levi as an assistant and from Aaron's family, you could not go in outside the outer court. The only place you could go is out here. You had no right going inside. If you did, you're going to die, okay? So the priests were only designated people by God from Aaron and Levi's family that was able to go in face to face with God, okay? Now, through Christ, and we're going to see that later, that changed. It's not just Levi's family, and it's not just Aaron's family. We believe in the priesthood of all believers, which means everybody through Christ is able to enter into God's presence. Everyone. The Catholic people still believe that, that's how Peter was one they think was like the first Catholic, but in reality, they got it from here to where a person has to come and present themselves to somebody that in turn presents themselves on behalf of God. So they need a priest, okay? We believe through Christ that you can go yourself directly to God. There's nothing that separates you from him, okay? So you don't need somebody to do it for you. It's good to have company to stand with you, but you don't need it. And the Lord said to Moses, "Look, I have chosen the Levites from among the Israelites to serve as substitutes for all the firstborn sons of Israel. These Levites belong to me. For all the firstborn males are mine. On the day I struck down all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians, I set apart for myself all the firstborn in Israel, both of people and of animals. They are mine. I am the Lord." So the firstborn belongs to God. Okay? The Lord spoke again to Moses into the wilderness of Sinai and said this: "Record the names of the members of the tribe of Levi by their families and clans. List every male who is 1 month old or older." So Moses listed them all just as the Lord had commanded. Levi had 3 sons whose names were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The clans descended from Gershon were named after the 2 of his descendants, Libni and Shimei. The clans descendants from Kohath were named after 4 of his descendants, Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The clans descended from Merari were named after the 2 of the descendants, Mahli and Mushi. These were the Levite clans listed according to their family groups. The descendants of Gershon were composed of the clans descended from Libni and Shimei. There were 7,500 males 1 month old or older among these Gershonite clans, 7,500. They were assigned to the area of the west of the tabernacle for their camp. The leader of the Gershonites clans was Elisaph, son of Lael. These 2 clans were responsible to care for the tabernacle, including the sacred tent with its layers of coverings, the curtain and its entrance. The curtains of the courtyard that surrounded the tabernacle and altar, the curtain at the courtyard entrance, the ropes, and all the equipment related to their use. The descendants of Kohath were composed of the clans descended from Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. There were 8,600 males 1 month old or older among those. They learned to walk young, didn't they, and started serving. These Kohathite clans, they were responsible for the care of the sanctuary, and they were assigned the area south of the tabernacle for their camp. The leader of the Kohathite clans was Elisaph, son of Uzziel. These 4 clans were responsible for the care of the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, the various articles used in the sanctuary, the inner court, and all the equipment related to their use. Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, was the chief administrator over all the Levites, with special responsibility for the oversight of the sanctuary. The descendants of Merari were composed of the clans descended from Mahli and Mushi. You'll see this picture in a minute. I'll paint it out for you. There were 6,200 males 1 month or older from these Merarite clans among them. They were assigned the area north of the tabernacle for their camp. The leader of the Merarite clans was Zerah, son of Abihail. These 2 clans were responsible for the care of the frames, supporting the tabernacle, the crossbars, the pillars, the bases, and all the equipment related to their use. They were all responsible for the posts of the courtyard and all their bases, pegs, and ropes, foundation. And in the area of the front of the tabernacle on the east toward the sunrise was reserved for the tents of Moses and Aaron and his sons, who had the final responsibility for the sanctuary on the behalf of the people. Anyone other than the priest Levite went to near the sanctuary put to death. Okay? When Moses and Aaron counted the Levite clans that the Lord had commanded, the total number was 22,000 males, 1 month and older. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now count all the firstborn sons in Israel who are 1 month and older, make a list of their names. The Levites must be reserved for me and a substitute for the firstborn sons of Israel. I am the Lord. And the Levites' livestock must be reserved for me as a substitute of the firstborn livestock and the whole nation of Israel." That's this. So Moses counted the firstborn sons of the people of Israel, just as the Lord had commanded. The total of all these people, the number of firstborn sons were the 1 month and older, was 22,273. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the Levites as substitutes for the firstborn sons of the people of Israel, and take the livestock of the Levites as substitutes for the firstborn livestock of the people of Israel. These Levites belong to me. I am the Lord. There are 273 more firstborn sons of Israel than there are Levites. To redeem these extra firstborn sons, collect 5 pieces of silver for each of them, each place weighing the same as a sanctuary shekel, which equals 20 gerahs. Give the silver to Aaron and his sons and the redemption price for the extra firstborn sons. So Moses collected the silver for the redeeming the firstborn sons of Israel who exceeded the number of Levites. The Lord was reconciling the people, okay? He collected 1,365 pieces of silver on the behalf of these firstborn sons of Israel, each piece weighing the same as a sanctuary shekel. And Moses gave the silver for the redemption to Aaron and his sons, just as the Lord had commanded. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, record the names of the members of the clans and the families of the Kohathites, division of the tribe of Levi. List all the men between the ages of 30 and 50 who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle. Let me stop right there. Okay, so let me just back up and just kind of paint the picture. God already told them to come out of Egypt, and they were just a bunch of Israelite people in Egypt. Live with their families, close to their families. They were just a bunch of people, okay? Not in order, not organized, no purpose, just living generation to generation, doing the best that they can. God visits them and says, hey, come up out of there. Moses comes and brings them out, but he brings them out of Egypt. They come out of the crossing, crosses the Red Sea, and now here we are. We're looking at them going, can't go back. Now we're here. The problem is, though, we're in this place of wilderness and we can't go there. And now we're looking at all these people, millions of people looking at each other going, okay, now what do we do? We're not there, and you just can't mobilize millions of people without some sort of structure and order and leadership. So Moses goes to God, gets some instruction. God comes down and says, listen, they're going to fight each other if we don't teach them how to live together. Over there, they just lived under the Egyptian rule. All they had to do was follow the rules of the Egyptians. As long as they followed the rules of the Egyptians, they were okay. But I didn't want them being okay. I wanted them to be my people. Okay? I have more for them. That's okay. But they can't live in complacency. They got to come out of that. So here they are on this journey, and Moses, I got to teach you how to live. So he says, here's how you live. According to the rules of God, you live this way with God and with people. Okay? Cross. First God, then people. So he begins to give them all this entire book of Leviticus on these rules. He tells them if they can't make this, then if they break that rule, then they got to have a sacrifice for that rule to get back into the fold. That way they don't die. So they learn all these rules, and they learn the playbook, if you will, of how to live life as an Israelite, realizing they're all from different tribes. So this family isn't like that family, even though they got their kin. You know, Gad is not like Issachar, but they all come from the same heritage. So we're going, how do I do this? Well, then God says, now before I get you mobilized and moving forward, I got to show you an order how to do this. I'm going to put the Judah on the east. I'm going to put one on the west. I'm going to put one on the north, one on the south. And in the middle is going to be the tabernacle. And I'm going to tell you when it's time to go, we're going to pick up and we're going to go. And as you go, remember what those rules are. Okay? And when we set up shop and stop, that's when we're going to make sure we're going to do the sacrifice and the work of the altar. However, it's not good enough just to have somebody over here guarding the 160,000 troops guarding our east side. It's not good enough just having 125,000 over here and then having our top. But it's not good enough just to have the body out here. We got to have the guts. So I got to have somebody that's concentrated on the guts, which is the heart, that doesn't get caught up in all the stuff out here. Because when the war starts happening out here, if these guys get so focused out there, they'll get distracted from the service of the heart and start chasing stuff out there.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Do they know who they're going? I mean, what they're getting the troops up for? I mean, do they know what's in front of them? Do they know what?
I think they have a hint that they know they're going to be going forward, right, based on what they just came from out of Egypt. So because they had to fight and ran from the chariots and Pharaoh. So I think they have an idea, but I don't think they have any idea. Okay, so I think they just like the 18-year-old kid registers for, here goes and he signs up for the Marines, and he watches it on TV as his only frame of reference. And then he gets there, and he goes, oh, yeah. Because honestly, in my experience of life, which this is a really good question, in my experience of life, the Lord will show me the end, and then he backs me up and shows me where I am, and then he shows me a couple of steps ahead, and then shows me flashes of the picture of the end. Because if he would have shown me all the steps in the process to get to that end, I wouldn't have started out that way. I just said, there ain't no way. I just didn't look at the picture. I'll dream about it. Yeah. Because what happens is you hear, and then he shows you a couple steps, and then before you know it, you're in so deep, you're too far, you can't go back. And then the taste of that picture that he puts in your head becomes greater than your consequences and your outlines and your fights and your battles here. And you begin to go, I got to, because what happens, you start falling in love with the people that are on the journey with you. Amen. So now you're doing it for them, and it's not about you anymore. See, at first it was Moses. Man, I had one guy, he just tried to help because the guy got killed. And Moses said, man, don't kill my brother. And Moses ran. God says, go back. Moses is going, I'm not going back. I mean, they're not going to listen to me. Who am I? I killed a guy. Moses goes back and tells Pharaoh, let my people go. Well, once he gets going, it's a bittersweet thing because the people get afraid. Moses is afraid too, but he can't be afraid he can't be afraid enough to stop. Right. He has to be fearful enough to keep going. But the people around you are afraid because they see what around them. Because what happens with them, people begin to see the left, the right. They start seeing externally, and you lose here. So God's given them the picture of how to live life. This is a picture of how to live life. I got you over here. I got you over here. I got you over here. And I got you down here. When you're blindsided on the left and right, I got you. If you go forward and you make crazy mistakes and you're reckless, I still got you. If you're slow and not moving fast enough, I got you down here too. The question is, though, you make sure you're guarding that heart. Amen. You're coming from the inside. Because what cannot be substituted and what cannot be sacrificed and what cannot be compromised is where my presence is. You have to have tending to that daily. Yes. And the Levites daily went in to the tabernacle and ministered to the Lord daily. Am I making sense? Yes. Right? So daily that's happening. Wow, all this is happening. Because the enemy's staging a front. You're being positioned and ordered for the fight that you don't even know is really coming. You just anticipate something's coming. Okay? So list all the men. This is getting good. You fight at 20. You're a fighter if you're 20 years and older. Remember? You're 1 month old to serve here. So babies were protected. Okay? List 20 to fight, but now he's talking about the Levites. This is the heart. This is the minister to the Lord. What's this? List all the men between the ages of where? 30. 20 to fight, 30 to the Lord. To be a priest and occupy your priestly garb in a real rightful way, you had to be 30 years old. That's when you took it. Okay? 30 years old and older. David was 30 when he started his ministry. He was anointed as a teenager. But the day it all took place, he was 30 when he became king. Okay? Jesus was 30. Yes. Okay? So 30 is you're still wet behind the ears if you're not 30. You're 20, you can still fight. Between 20 and 30, you have a lot of passion and a lot of recklessness and a lot of guts, courage. When you get 30, you start getting a little maturity going, I better think this through. Because why? For the last 10 years, you've been, I'm ready to not only minister to the Lord, I'm ready to take into account all the people around me. At 20, you're still thinking of yourself. Some of the 20-year-olds just fight to keep fighting. I was there. I know what it's like. You know what I mean? You pick a fight, just know you can. Right? When you hit 30, you start looking around going, I got enough bruises on me in the last 10 years. I don't know that I want those bruises forever. I've inflicted pain, and I've been inflicted pain too. And it's time I start growing up. So there's that 30-year Am I talking to anybody else? Or just my experience? Okay. List all the men between the ages of 30 and 50 who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle. The duties of the Kohathites at the tabernacle will relate to the most sacred, look at this. To handle the most sacred place of God, you better be mature. They relate to the most sacred objects. When the camp moves, Aaron and his sons must enter the tabernacle first. Now they're going to talk about how they take down and how do you operate on the heart. Now, if anybody could pick this up, this is where I first learned how to give counsel. I didn't know it, but this is it. I was doing it. The Lord showed me how to do it. When I say counsel, I'm talking about counseling, correction, all this. Watch this. It's the most sacred place of a person's life is their heart. So when the camp moves, Aaron and his sons must enter in the tabernacle first to take down the inner curtain and cover the Ark of the Covenant with, and what's this? You took down the inner curtain. That curtain that separated your mind and your heart was taken down. And God's presence in your heart was protected. So, I've screwed up, man. I made a royal mistake. I'm saved, but I wouldn't believe what I've done. Well, you're saved. I covered that Ark of the Covenant and said, no, that's not the question here. That's not the question. Are you hear what I'm saying? I know you made a mistake. I know you screwed up, but you're saved. Why? Because the blood of Jesus has saved you and you accepted that. Right? So now that that's covered up with this, I got to be able to show you the difference between your heart and your mind.
Amen.
Most people go, man, you screwed up. I don't know if you're going to heaven or hell. And you're going, but man, I love God. I know I did stupid stuff, but I love God. He loves me. I still believe he's Jesus. He's the Savior of the world. He's my king. Yeah, but you're not acting like it. So for years and decades, the Levites, preachers, Aaron's preachers, stand up here, and rather than protect the Ark of the Covenant inside of a person, which is God's presence, we tear it down and tell them how bad they are and how bad you are. And you're going, finally after a while, you're going, my God, I'm so bad. I don't know if you get condemned. And it just heaps on you. That's not how you do this thing. He's showing us how to deliver even a message. It's not how you do your kids. You brat. What? No, you're my son. You don't do that.
That's right.
What? I'm his son. Yeah. I separated the act from who he is.
Yes.
That's what he's telling him. When you're moving, when you're living, when you're occupying, when you're mobile, boom. First thing that's got to come down is the veil. Why? Because that inner court has to cover up the Ark of the testimony. What we would preach years ago is God can't be around sin. Geez, if that's the case, Jesus didn't become sin. He's not afraid of sin as much as we are afraid of sin.
Amen.
That's hard. I'm telling you, I know that's hard to believe. I sit under a preacher for years as a kid, and he would say, he'd quote that scripture, God doesn't hear the prayers of the sinner. And I was lost, and I'd get prayers answered. And you know what that did to me? I'd go, I must be saved. Because he answered that one. He didn't know that. He was teaching me something different. He was trying to get me to see that, man, all my sin was keeping God from answering prayer. But I was getting my prayers answered. So I was going, well, I'm still living in sin. And he's answering my prayers. I must be saved. So every time he'd preach it, I'd say, hey, I would think of something. I was an adult. I was in my early 20s. And I would think of something to pray when he preached that message to see if God would answer it. God would answer that prayer. And then I would just smile when the preacher preached that message again. Because he'd say, God does not hear. He doesn't hear a prayer. He turns a deaf ear to the prayer of a sinner. And I know that's what it says. That's not the context of what it says.
Amen.
Here's what that was saying. And nobody wants to hear this. When Jesus was on the cross, he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? For 33 and a half years, okay? For 3.5 years in ministry, once he became a priest, the only time Jesus referred to God as God was on the cross.
Right.
He was father for 33 and a half years because Jesus is the Son of God. But he is not the father of sin.
Amen.
So when sin was hanging on the cross, he didn't say, my Father, why have you forsaken me? He said, my God, my God. And Jesus had to turn the other way, or Father had to turn the other way, because he's not the father of sin, the devil is.
That's right.
And sin was crucified. If he'd have said, Father, Father, why are you forsaking me? God had to pull him off that cross.
Yeah.
Right?
Amen.
So he doesn't hear the prayer of a sinner because there's only one sinner that he had to turn his head from. And that's Jesus, because he became sin.
Yes.
He wasn't a sinner, but he became sin. I wouldn't have gotten, if I was a sinner. And I called out to God, and he saved me. What good would it have done if I hadn't called out to God? If I'd have believed that lie, you don't hear the sin, I don't know how to get there. What that did, what it does, it gets me to go to a priest. See how it works? It gets me to go to a priest and go, man, can you go to him for me? Because he can't hear me, I'm a sinner. And the priest goes, I got your back. Right? No, through Christ,
Amen.
he got my top, my east, my north, my south, and my west, and my heart.
Yes.
See, this is more than a history book of just traveling through the journey of the wilderness and learning some stuff. This is a picture of today. This is powerful to me.
Yes.
You know, I'm telling you, I lived my whole life, and I had an old man in my life that Don Tony taught me how this stuff. He was just to pull this stuff out and go, what are you talking about? Are you out of your mind? He said, oh gosh, you wouldn't have it. Man, if you knew how out of my mind I was, you wouldn't even believe it. And I'd go, but it would just draw me in more. One more verse. Let's go back one more, if we could do it. You guys enjoying this?
Amen.
I mean, I know I am. I'm sorry, did I mess you up? Then they must cover the inner curtain with a fine goatskin leather and spread over that single piece of blue cloth. Finally, they must put the carrying poles of the ark in place. Watch this. Next, they must spread a blue cloth over the table where the bread of the presence is, and on the cloth they will place the bowls, the ladles, the jars, the pitchers, and the bread. Now watch this. Here's what happened. He's putting the poles in, okay? Remember I told you about the Ark of the Covenant is like a casket? Like you got pallbearers? Because the Ark of the Covenant, Ark of the Testament means coffin, okay? Because inside that coffin, when you will see it a little later, he puts those poles in. Why? Because he's preparing that thing to be moved. You're not going to stay the same way you are in the kingdom.
Yes.
Your heart's going to be transported.
Yes.
You're going to grow. You're going to go. You're going to grow, and you're going to go. And here you go. So when he prepares the heart for mobilization, then he goes to the mind. And he starts covering the mind. All the utensils in the mind. God, I wish I had time to go through all this. Next, they spread the blue cloth. Let's go to the very next verse. Let's see where. They must spread a scarlet cloth over all of this. Why scarlet? Red, blood. Blood cloth over all of the mind. That is washing by the water of the word. Your mind needs to be renewed.
Yes.
Okay? This is a picture of it. Covering a fine goatskin leather on top of the scarlet cloth. Then they must insert the carrying poles into the table. Now watch this. Next, they must cover the lampstand with a blue cloth, along with its lamps, lamp snuffers, trays, and special jars of olive oil. And they're tearing down is what they're basically doing. Then they must cover the lampstand of its accessories with fine goatskin leather and place the bundle on a carrying frame. Next, they must spread a blue cloth over the gold incense. Man, they're covering everything. Keep going here to the poles of the altar. Next verse, 12. They must take all the remaining furnishings of the sanctuary and wrap them into blue cloth, royalty, cover them with fine goatskin leather, and place them on a carrying frame. They must remove the ashes from the altar for sacrifices and cover the altar with a purple cloth. All the altar's utensils, the fire pans, meat forks, shovels, basins, and all the containers must be placed on the cloth, and the covering of the fine goatskin's leather must be spread over top of all of them. Finally, see, the goat skin is the flesh of the sacrifice. Finally, they must put all the carrying poles in place. The camp will be ready to move when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary and all the sacred articles. The Kohathites will come and carry these things to the next destination, but they must not touch the sacred objects or they're going to die. So these are the things from the tabernacle that the Kohathites must carry. And here's how it went. Here. They would take all the stuff and cover them and put them in order. They couldn't move them. That's where we get unions. Just thought I'd throw that in there as a joke. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm an iron worker, but I'm not a laborer. So I can't pick that up because that created a job for that. See, he got order, right? Whether you afford it or not, I'm telling you, they had it back then. They just didn't call it that. All right? So you had a function, and you did your function because your function was a part of the whole. Right? They didn't create a function so you'd have a function and have a job. They created the job and the function because you had a function. Right? I was in India. I was in India, and my mind just works different, and I realized that at times too. So I was there, and right outside this big old block wall was there's cows, there's poverty, there's people just it's bad. You can just imagine, really bad. So you drive right in between here and past this gate, and there's this big, nice place. I'm talking about like a resort. And look like a golf course. There was food. There was, I could throw pineapple across the big old wall. And I'm dying. I'm looking at these people out here going, God. So I'm in. So I'm standing there with a bunch of people. Dale was with me that day. And I'm looking out there, and I see these guys, and they're getting ready to cut, and it was manicured like you wouldn't believe. This ground is green, looked like a golf course. And they were getting ready to cut the grass. And I was watching, and I stood there talking to a couple of people locally, and I'm watching this, and man, this thing's beautiful. And they're ready to cut the grass again. And I just couldn't get over it, how beautiful it was. So I'm sitting there looking, and they had, these guys got in line. They're probably in their 20s. And they all got in line, and they lined up together. There was a bunch of them, 8, 10, 20, I don't know how many, lots. And they all lined up here. And they all had machetes. Then they spread out like this, put their hands out like this apart, so they didn't touch. And they spread out, going across it looked like 5 football fields. That's how big it was. And here they went. And somebody set a cadence, and they started doing this and cutting with these machetes to this grass, man. And by the time they get 100 yards, they stop, wipe off their brow, take a drink, and then they go again. And I'm losing my mind. I'm going, and we're going, man, how do we really help this country? That's what we were there to do, to minister to the country. I said, I got an idea. Why can't we bring in riding mowers? Is that logical? When you all think of that too? And there's all these people here. All these people doing what a riding mower could have done in 2 hours, 3 hours. These 20 people were taking all day. 20. And I'm going, oh. And these are the smartest, I'm talking some of the smartest people in the world. These people are doctors, and it's just crazy. They're smart, so educated, they don't have much entrepreneurship. So I thought I was going to be the hero. So I talked to the guy beside me. I said, hey, man, I got an idea. I said, we'll buy some riding mowers. I thought I was doing this a favor. He went, what? I said, I thought I was going to explain it. Yeah, riding mower. Yeah. Riding mower. Big mower. Big. He went, no, riding mower. I said, what? I said, no, you don't understand. I said, we'll get big ones. And do this whole thing. And over there, too. He looked at me, So my guy come with me that was kind of hosting us, came to me, he goes, they don't want riding mowers. He said, you're eliminating all those jobs.
Yes.
I went, what? He said, you're eliminating all those jobs. And I thought to myself, man, why? At least people were getting paid to raise that's how they were paying their families. That's how they're raising their kids and getting their kids in school. If I would have taken that away to be smarter, more economic, wiser, more efficient, I would have eliminated their job. So I shut my mouth, and I realized, I'm not saying another word. Because I went back outside, because I realized something. what could have been doing out there, what I was thinking should have been done out there to create more for those people and more opportunity for those people. But it wasn't received. And I looked at the guy and he went, don't even try it. You're wasting your time. And then it hit me. That's how you set up in a country where they're dependent upon each other. Keep your wages low, poverty in the area, and put a ceiling on everybody's head. And I realized in that economy, in that mindset, I would have destroyed them. I wouldn't have helped them. But they're destroying themselves by the limitations that they put above their head. And I just shook my head. I thought, man, it's amazing. Isn't that crazy? Function. They all had a place. They created a job for them to raise their family. That's not what this is.
Amen.
This was a function about the tabernacle to go take a whole generation into a place. Amen?
Amen.
See you in a bit.